Hello there, it's Trunk here. Over the course of the last few videos, we had a look at which evolution was the best in Gen 1. I've spent quite a bit of time in Gen 1 now and fancy a bit of a change. Let's head out west and see what's going on in Johto. That's right, we're going to play Pokemon Gold. But if we're going into unfamiliar territory, we should at least keep something a bit more familiar. Because of that, I'm going to bring along my emotional support duck and we'll see, can I beat Pokemon Gold with only a Psyduck? Psyduck's base stats are pretty much the same as they were in Gen 1, which means they're pretty much middling across the board. However, there is one difference. Its special in Gen 1 was 50, but now, with the split of special attack and special defense, we see that its special attack has actually increased to 65. This means Psyduck is a decent special attacker. It might actually do quite well with the right moves. Speaking of moves, Psyduck doesn't get that many more moves than it did in Gen 1 from leveling, though it does get them earlier. We start with Scratch and Tail Whip. This time, Disable and Confusion, which came at levels 31 and 36 respectively in Gen 1, now come at levels 10 and 16. This means we should at least have something to play with a bit earlier on this time. When looking at TM and HM moves, it's obviously looking quite a bit different. What really sticks out to me is that we won't have a water attacking move until Surf. For an ice move, we'll get Ice Punch at Goldenrod, though it's not as powerful as Ice Beam was. Also, Dig is a lot less powerful in Gen 2 than it was in Gen 1, but it should still be quite useful. Other moves we might be able to make good use of are Headbutt, Iron Tail, Mud Slap and Return. Now, let's have a look at the rules before we jump in. I can only use one Pokemon in battles, and that will be Psyduck. I can catch other Pokemon for HMs, but I won't be able to use them in battle. Lastly, no items in battle, though held items are allowed. Also, if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like it and consider clicking that subscribe button. Right, well let's get started in Johto. We replace Totodile with Psyduck and pick it up from Professor Elm's. Then we head through Cherry Grove City to see Mr. Pokemon and Professor Oak and grab an egg. We get a distressed phone call from Elm and he wants us to come back to New Bark Town. As we're leaving Cherry Grove, some jerk shows up and wants to fight me, so I oblige. He's got a Chikorita. After a couple of tail whips, its defense is lowered enough that a few scratches takes it down. He tells us his name is ... but when I get to Elm's lab and talk to the police, I lie and tell them that his name was Gaggle. We're then sent off on our quest to defeat the gym leaders. We head through Cherry Grove and arrive in Violet City to take on their gym leader. The problem is, I can't actually get to him. There are a few trainers in the way and I can't even defeat the Spearow belonging to the first one. Alright, well, let's check out the local tourist attraction, Sprout Tower. Oh god, all the dudes here have bell sprouts. Ow, they hurt. After some cautious leveling, we finally managed to get through the trainers in the gym, and we're prepared to take on the flying type gym leader, Falkner. It's easy enough to scratch our way through Pidgey, but we're not in a great state for Pidgeotto, whose gusts are hitting us hard, and we're soon taken down. Though it does seem that we're quite close to winning. Unfortunately, going for Disable isn't a great idea. It can easily miss, and when we do disable Gust, it starts using Mud Slap, which lowers our accuracy, and that means that we can start missing. We gain an extra level, and that's enough for us to power through and defeat Falkner. That extra bit of health was really useful, and now we've got our first gym badge. From Violet, we head on through Union Cave and get to Azalea, which has a bit of a Team Rocket infestation. It's easily dealt with. They're all terrible at fighting back, and after we tell them to sling their collective hook, we pop into Bugsy's gym to get our second badge. You might have noticed from the rocket fights that we have Confusion now, and we just spam it. I do just want to say how stupid it is that this gym leader has a Metapod and a Kakuna. That's 2/3 of the team. What were Game Freak thinking here? Oh, and I feel really bad for Scyther here. It gets confused immediately and then just keeps hitting itself. Poor guy. Now, as easy as that was, I can't proceed without fighting ... who you can see here has changed his name. This really isn't quite as simple as the other fights. He's got a Ghastly now, which is easily taken out with Confusion, but Bayleaf is brutal. Unlike the Bulbasaur line in Gen 1, the Chikorita line is pure grass instead of grass poison, so it isn't weak to Confusion. I, however, am weak to Razor Leaf, and while it's not as powerful as before, it's still enough to take me down. During my next attempt, I tried Disable, but it's not working and we're taken down. On an attempt where Disable works, I'm hit with Poison Powder and run out of time before I can do much. I give Mud Slap a go and see if we can defeat it by stopping it from hitting us, and we start getting somewhere, but it's no use. On one attempt, I almost get through Bayleaf, but it's not happening. After a bit of grinding, we're at level 21 and I go for Mud Slap strats. This time it works and we're through to Zubat and take it out immediately with Confusion. God, there were a lot of failed attempts that you didn't get to see there. It took me a while, but I finally made it through. That Bayleaf might actually cause us some real problems in the future, but we'll be able to pick up something in Goldenrod that should really help us there. Well, I guess we'd better head over to Goldenrod then. We play with a bird in Ilex Forest, pick up Headbutt, then make our way to Whitney's gym. Of course, we've stopped off at the department store and grabbed Ice Punch, which works really well against Clefairy, whose use of Metronome is really, really annoying. Then comes Miltank, and, well, we're done. It doesn't even get to use its infamous rollout. It just stomps all over us. We give it another go, and Clefairy uses Whirlwind, and... Oh. Whirlwind sends out one of your other Pokemon in this game. Alright then. Anyway, we keep trying against Whitney at various levels, but it's not quite working out. Mudslap feels like a useful move here, but it's just not paying off. I head to National Park and grab Dig so I can hide underground. It's just not doing enough damage though. Eventually we get lucky and manage to freeze Miltank, which is a 10% chance, and we're able to take it down. Whitney is notoriously tough to get through, so while this took a few attempts, I'm glad it wasn't actually that much of a blocker, and we've got through her. We're now on our way to Ecruteak, and there's this weird tree that's in the way, so we just punch that a bit like we're in Minecraft. After that, we get to Ecruteak, fight a bunch of dancing ladies, and you might think that I'm going to learn Surf here, but I'm actually going to hold off on it for now. Thing is, I want to replace Confusion with Surf, but Confusion's going to be really good here, and it should be useful at the next gym over in Cyanwood. So as you can see, we're going to go up against Morty, and Confusion annihilates Ghastly, and then it does some really good work against Haunter, which takes itself out when cursing us. We do some decent damage to Gengar, but it puts us to sleep, and a combination of the Curse and Dream Eater takes us down. We try again, but sleeping is once again the problem. I go to Burn Tower and do the optional rival fight there. It's nothing too exciting. We use Confusion on Haunter, and then it curses us. Dig takes out Magnemite in one hit. Bayleaf takes 2 Ice Punches, and then it poisons us, so we're poisoned and cursed. Last up is Zubat, and while things get a little bit scary, we manage to take it down in 2 Confusions. After that, I figure, let's sail over to Cyanwood, so I catch a Krabby in Olivine to teach it Surf, and then... Oh, right, yeah, we need to defeat Morty first. Oh, damn it. Well, back to Morty, I suppose, and this goes... quite well, actually. I even remember that held items are a thing. Yeah, you've probably noticed that I keep forgetting about those. I've got too much of a Gen 1 brain on right now. Well, I use a Mint Berry to stop me from falling asleep, and it works. A couple of Confusions and Gengar hitting itself means we're finally done with Morty. Now we can head to Olivine and surf over to Cyanwood. I grab Amphi's medicine, then head into the gym. There are these 2 jerks near the front who are in my way. Confusion isn't doing as much as I thought it would, and when we are able to get past the Hitmonlee dude, the Hitmonchan guy Thunder Punches us. Yeah, I think now might actually be the time to learn Surf. While it's not doing much more than Confusion was, it's still doing a bit more. Hitmonchan's Thunder Punch is a pain though. Eventually we get through them and the rest of the gym, and now it's time to face Chuck. So, Chuck only has 2 Pokemon. Primeape, who is easy to take out with Surf, and Poliwrath, who's a problem. Also, that's Poliwrath, right, rather than the very British English Poliwrath. Yeah, we'll say Poliwrath. We don't really have anything good against it. Headbutts can at least make it flinch, and it loves to use Dynamic Punch, which often misses. However, if it hits, it can take us down, and if it doesn't take us down, it'll confuse us. Oh, and it can also put us to sleep, which is a real pain. Even when we almost beat it, it gets a Dynamic Punch in, and we're gone. After a few rounds, we manage to make it through, and Chuck is done. Honestly, this just feels like a luck-based fight. There's not much that I felt I could really do to try and change my chances here. What won't be a luck-based fight, though, is Jasmine. We bring back Amphi's medicine, and we're ready to fight her. Magnemite 1, Dig, fainted. Magnemite 2, Dig, fainted. Steelix comes out last, and I go for Dig again, which doesn't actually do that much. And then I remember its ground type as well, so go for a big old Surf, and it starts taking massive damage. A couple of hits, and it's down, and Jasmine is defeated. Not too shabby. I'll take an easy win after the trouble we've been facing recently. After this, however, comes tedium. We're off to Mahogany Town, and we need to deal with Team Rocket there. The red Gyarados I think about catching for Waterfall and Whirlpool, but it's actually a lot easier to just catch another Psyduck. Then it's into the Rocket hideout, and it is just constant fights against weak enemies. Then it's constant fights against Electrodes. I really like the story stuff in Gen 2, but the enemy team design is just woeful. Well, with that all sorted, we make our way into Pryce's gym, and I consider learning Iron Tail, but it might not actually be too great for this fight. See, Seal is pure water type, so Iron Tail wouldn't be good about that, and instead we just headbutt it. Dugong is at least part ice type, but the water typing cancels that out, meaning that Iron Tail isn't a great move here. So instead we just butt heads for a while until it falls asleep for long enough for me to knock it out. Last up is Piloswine, who's Ice Ground, making it the only one Steel moves would be actually any use against. However, Surf still does a ton of damage to it, and it's down in one hit. And there we go. Done. Thanks, Pryce. It was nice meeting you. Now, while it would be nice to go to the next gym, we need to sort out Team Rocket again over in Goldenrod Tower. So we fight the fake executive, rescue the real one, then tell them all to bugger off. Oh, and within all that, we fought Gaggle. Let's have a look at that fight. Golbat confuses us, but it only takes 2 Ice Punches to take it down. Magnemite is easily dealt with using Dig. Next up is Meganium, and Meganium, all it does is use Reflect, so 2 Ice Punches defeats it. We don't have Confusion for Haunter anymore, so we use Surf, and that does the job. Last up is Sneasel, and I'm not really sure what I should do here, so I use my head and it works well enough. The rival fights aren't really that challenging anymore, they're just sort of there. Anyhows, with them all sorted out, we head to the gym over in Blackthorn to take on Clair. She has 3 Dragonair, and unlike Lance in Gen 1, they can actually do things. I land an Ice Punch on the first one, but it doesn't quite take it out. It then uses Thunder Wave on us, and we're paralysed. It hits us with Dragon Breath, and we respond with another Ice Punch to take it down. The next Dragonair comes along, and this one knows Thunderbolt, which nearly takes us out, however a single Ice Punch defeats it. Unfortunately, we just don't have enough HP to survive another hit, and the third Dragonair hits us with Dragon Breath, and we're down. During the next attempt, we take down all 3 Dragonair with 1 Ice Punch each, and it's on to Kingdra, who... Wait, what am I meant to do against Kingdra? I guess it's part dragon, but it's also part water. Yeah, we'll give Ice Punch a go. Yeah, it's not doing much. Oh, and it knows Surf. Yeah, maybe that will work. No, okay, no. It double resists it. Yeah, of course. Huh, well, I reckon this is lost, but we'll see what Headbutt can do, and... Oh, that's quite good. Oh, and it flinches. One more hit, and we're a Hyper Potion. Ah! Well, that's no good. Yep, Hyper Beam, and we're done. A couple of attempts and a tiny bit of leveling later, and we finally get a good run. Hyper Beam's not doing loads to us, Headbutt gets a flinch, and we're through Kingdra in 4 hits. And with that, we have all of the gym badges. Well, first we have to go into a cave before we can get the last one, but that's it, we're done. We're ready for the Elite Four. Looking back on what has happened so far, I actually think this run's not been awful. Sure, we've had some difficulties along the way, and rarely have the gyms been an insta-win, but we've not actually had to do loads to get through them. Well, in Gen 1, usually the pre-Elite Four rival fight is a tough one, so let's see how Gaggle does. He starts with Sneasel, and we Surf it. Then comes out Magneton, and we Dig it. Meganium is Ice Punched, Razor Leaf hurts us, then we Ice Punch it again. Golbat is hit with a crit Ice Punch, and it's done. Haunter, Surf, done. Ooh, Kadabra, you're new. Yeah, Headbutt for you, you're done. And that's it. Gaggle's defeated. Well, dang, he's just useless. But I don't expect the Elite Four to be useless, though. They are elite after all. I munch on the 1 rare candy? How did I only find 1? Well, it turns out they aren't too common in Johto. Damn. Well, anyway, we go into our first fight with Will at level 55. Xatu is a bird, so Ice Punch works against it and we're done in one. Exeggutor also doesn't like being frosty, so an Ice Punch takes it down in one hit. Talking of ice, here's Jinx, so we need to try something a bit different, and I go for Dig. It does over half its health in damage. We hit a little bit with Double Slap before taking it down with a second Dig. Slowbro likes to use Amnesia, so hitting it with Headbutt is the way forwards here. A bunch of Headbutts later, and being hit with Psychic once, and we're through to the second Xatu. It barely holds on with an Ice Punch, then it confuses us and gets healed with a Max Potion. Psyduck hits itself, but the following attack goes well, and we take it out with an Ice Punch. And we're done. Some concerning moments, sure, but not too bad. I'd say I could see Will being a problem if we need to fight him again, though. Next up comes a familiar face from Kanto. Koga. He's got some new Pokemon this time, so let's see how things go. First up is Ariados. First up's Ariados, and I go for Surf and almost take it out. It responds with Giga Drain, but it's not doing loads. Another Surf takes it down. Venomoth is out next, and I go for Ice Punches because I always think it's Flying type when it isn't, and that gives it time to poison me. Next is Fortress, and I'm a little confused about what to do. It's Bug Steel type, so I think, oh yeah, Steel is weak to ground, forgetting that Bug resists ground, so Dig doesn't actually do much at all. I then go for Dig again for some reason, and eventually the poison takes me out. Well, that got a bit silly. Next time I meet Koga, my brain kinda works. I used Dig on Venomoth this time, which is a bit silly, but then I finally realised going Stabby with Surf is the way to go, and we're through it. Stabbing is the same strategy we use for Fortress, and so a couple of Surfs take it out fairly quickly. Muck is actually weak to Dig, so we go for that, and despite its insistence on minimising, it's defeated in 2 hits. Last up is Crobat, and do you know what? I'm just going to read out verbatim what I've written in my script. Last up is Crobat, and this time the winged Pokemon is Flying type, and we hit it without Frosty Fist until it's gone. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Anyway, Koga's actually really easy when you're not a moron. Talking of easy, that's what Bruno always was. How is he in Gen 2? Well, he starts with Hitmontop, and I go for Surf, which does a ton of damage. It then digs, so I dig back. It misses its dig because I dug, and then I miss with dig because it detects. So I Surf and it's done. Alright, next up is Hitmonchan, and 2 Surfs takes it down, with Thunder Punches only doing a small bit of damage to us. Hitmonlee comes out, and we go for Headbutt, and it crits, taking it down in 1. Next up is Machamp, and it looks like Surf is doing some decent damage, but then it hits us with Cross Chop, and that hurts. Unfortunately, another Surf isn't quite doing it, and we're down with a second Cross Chop. Okay, so that was close, which is kind of annoying. Maybe if we don't need 3 hits for Machamp, we're good. So I go into the world, get some more rare candies, and go through it all again. Once we get to Machamp, my brain falls apart and I try a Headbutt before using Surf again. We don't take it down and Bruno uses a Max Potion. 2 more Surfs and we're through to his last Pokemon, Onyx. We Surf it. With that, Bruno is done. Yeah, not actually that bad, just gotta be like smart and not a dum-dum against him. The last member of the Elite Four is the Dark-type trainer Karen. Her first Pokemon is Umbreon, and I just go for Surfs. It tries to Sand Attack but fails, then it confuses me, but I get through it fine. Next is Vileplume, and it's weak to Ice, so let's punch it and it's down in 1. After that comes Gengar, and it doesn't do much to us, we just hit it with a couple of Surfs. By the way, I love the sprite for Gengar in this game, it absolutely rules. Murkrow can fly, so it hates ice and gets punched away. Last up is Houndoom, which looks rad, but that doesn't really mean that it can't get easily washed away, and we're done with Karen. Yeah, she's really easy here. I think she has a cool assortment of Pokemon, but they just can't stand up to our little yellow duck. Now would be the time where I build up to the big old champion fight, the fight we've all been waiting for. But, it's Lance. He's still a dragon trainer and we have Ice Punch. It's gonna be easy. Well, that's only if we can get past Gyarados. We Ice Punch it, it hits us with Hyper Beam, and yeah, that's it done. It needs to recharge, and that means we have enough turns to take it down. Well, that wasn't exciting. Then a bunch of Dragonites come out, and they just all get punched. Then Charizard comes along, and we Surf it. Then Aerodactyl comes along, it outspeeds, tries to Rock Slide, fails, and then we surf it, and we're done. That's it. That is the champion fight. Lance, mate, you're an embarrassment. And that's it. Psyduck's done it. We've beaten all of Johto and defeated the Elite Four. We've beaten the game. Though, you know that's not quite true. One thing I love about Gen 2 is they put Kanto in the game as well. So we still have 8 more gym leaders, and then the real, ultimate, final challenge. That's right, the game isn't done until we've beaten Red. Alright, well let's head down to Olivine and hop on that boat over to Vermilion. Now that we're here, Lieutenant Surge is the first obstacle, and I could skip him seeing as I'm a water type, but let's just get in there. First up is Raichu, and Dig defeats it. Magneton comes out next, and while we spend some time not being able to hit each other, it ends up hitting us with Zap Cannon while we're underground. Alright, I didn't know about that. I can't actually find any information about that. Weird. I mean, if you can find any, let me know about it. Editing Trunk here, and I just noticed that Magneton uses Lock-On, which means that, well, it can bypass accuracy checks, which means it can hit us whilst we're dug. Dug? Underground. Once we're underground. But yeah, mystery solved. Anyway, we finally take it down, but we're in a bad state and Electabuzz takes us out. Next time, and we get through Magneton just fine, then almost take out Electabuzz, which then hits us with Thunder and we survive. We use Headbutt to try and take it out, but Surge uses a Hyper Potion, so it takes 2 hits and it's gone. Electrode comes out and it is super speedy, but instead of trying to hit us, it goes for evasion and Dig takes it down. One last Electrode and it manages to hit us with Swift, but we hold on with 5 HP and then take it down. Well, Surge was a bit tougher than expected, but we are a water duck, so not too surprising. Maybe I should have just left him for a bit later. Anyway, the world is open to us, so let's see who we should go for next. How about Sabrina? She opens with Espeon and we go surfing. 2 surfs takes it down, but we do get hit with Sand Attack. Next is Mr. Mime, who takes 2 surfs as well. Alakazam is next, and it hits us with a nasty Psychic, and Headbutt doesn't take it down. We're hit with another Psychic, and we just about hold on with 4 HP, which is good enough, really. Headbutt, and it's down. With that, we've beaten Sabrina already. Yeah, you might notice that Kanto is quick, because now we're already on to Erica, who must be terrified of this duck and its frosty fist. Ice Punch takes down Tangela, then Jumpluff, then Victory Bell. Blossom, which is a great name, survives 1 punch and Erica uses a Hyper Potion on it, but then we keep going with the punches and it's done. Right, who's next? Misty? Sure, let's go for her. Psyduck meets its older sister and headbutts it twice. Next out is Quagsire, and it goes down to a single surf. We start headbutting Lapras, and it hits us with Perish Song. We need to get through the rest of the team quick. We're on a count of 2 at the start of Starmie, but it's all okay because 2 headbutts and it's down. With that, we've beaten Misty. I actually really like the Pokemon that she has in this game. It's kind of a cool team. Well, maybe Janine, who's taken over from Koga, will present a challenge. Well, she doesn't. Crobat takes 1 Ice Punch, Ariados takes 1 Surf, Weezing 1 is a single Dig, Weezing 2 takes a Dig and a Headbutt, so that's difficult, I guess. Then Venomoth takes 1 Surf. Yeah, that was pretty abysmal, Janine. You didn't even hit me. Well, who do we have next? Oh god, it's Brock. Yeah, this is gonna be brutal. 1 hit Surfs and his entire team is done. Well, damn, how about Blaine? Yeah, he's gonna be the same, isn't he? Yeah, that was easy. With that, we finally have some kind of challenge. Blue. He was always a challenge in Gen 1, and he's gonna be a challenge here. As always, he starts with Pidgeot. We use Ice Punch, and that doesn't take it out. It responds with a crit wing attack before we take it down. Next is Exeggutor, and we Ice Punch again. We almost take it down, and it gets ready to use Solar Beam, so we get rid of it immediately. Next is Alakazam, and I hope to do some serious damage with Headbutt, but it's not actually doing that much, and we're hit with Psychic, taking us all the way down to 10 HP. We hit with Surf, and that gets rid of it. Next up is Gyarados, and an Ice Punch freezes it. Unfortunately, he does the sort of thing that Blue likes to do and uses a full restore, which means we don't stand a chance and we're defeated. Alright, not actually too bad. We try again, but it's not going well, so I go for some leveling, which includes fighting Gaggle in Mount Moon. It's not really worth talking about, it's a really easy fight. Back to Blue, and after a few more attempts we get a good run, especially now that we've equipped leftovers. We get to Gyarados with full health and keep hitting it until it goes down. The big fire dog is next. It hits us with extreme speed, and we knock it out with a single surf. Last up, Rhydon, and it's taken out in one. Yeah, as always, Gyarados is the problem. That's a really fun battle, that. But now this is what it's all been leading to. Red. I'm not that familiar with the rest of the Pokemon games, but I wouldn't be surprised if Red is the hardest trainer in all of Pokemon history. It's also really cool, you're fighting yourself from the previous game. That's awesome. Well, let's see how it goes. Psyduck is only level 72, so this isn't feeling great already. He opens with Pikachu, and that's really no good because, well, we're Psyduck, and yeah, there we go. Short battle. We've got nothing we can do when we're outsped and Pikachu has Thunder. I guess we can hope that it misses? Okay, it didn't miss that time, but what about this time? Awesome, right, well, that means we can dig it. It's weak to dig, and no, not good enough. Oh well. Yeah, we can't really just rely on luck here. We need more levels so we can outspeed. We come back at level 77 and still don't outspeed, but after a missed Thunder, we hit it with Dig. It doesn't take Pikachu down, but we're able to get one more dig in, and we're through Pikachu. Okay, what's next? Venusaur. Right, okay, this isn't so bad. We go for Ice Punch, but it doesn't take it down, and then Venusaur prepares Solar Beam, which, yeah, that works for us actually. We can go underground, and it misses. It then goes for Solar Beam again, so we dig again. When we hit it, it goes for Solar Beam again, but we should be able to take it out now with just one more Ice Punch, and we're through Venusaur. Okay, this duck's doing alright. Who's next? Espeon. Okay, I don't think I can do much here. Surf seems to be the best way forward, but unfortunately Espeon can use Psychic, and while I get its health low, it ends up taking us down. Okay, not going too badly here, but we need to be a bit more consistent against Pikachu. We level up some more and get to level 80. We still don't outspeed Pikachu, but Thunder doesn't kill us this time, and we can take it out with one dig. Venusaur is pretty simple to get through, but then Espeon comes out, uses Psychic, and we're done. A few attempts later, and we're Espeon with full health. We hit it with a crit Surf and survive a Psychic, so we're able to finally beat it. Red then sends out Snorlax, but Surf isn't doing much and it takes us down with a Body Slam. I always forget in Gen 2 that Snorlax has very high special defense. At level 82, we still don't outspeed Pikachu, but it does something a bit different. It charms us. This might be a bit of a route through Pikachu at times, but once again, when we get to Snorlax, we're not able to do much. I test out Dig this time, but it's no good. When we come back at level 85, we're finally outspeeding Pikachu and I can take it down without worrying about being hit. This is a major step in our journey. We're even able to just Ice Punch Venusaur twice instead of faffing about with Dig. Espeon can still hit hard with Psychic though, and will still be able to take us down, so that's a concern. At level 87, I test out a couple of new moves. Firstly, Iron Tail, but it's really not doing much, so I don't see it as being worth it. The second move I test out is Return, a move I could probably have been using throughout the run, but I've been liking Headbutt's chance to flinch. It does well against Espeon, but definitely isn't the secret sauce to taking out Snorlax. I plan on grinding up to level 90, but during that time I actually stumble across a shiny Ponyta. I actually don't know if I've ever come across a shiny that isn't the red Gyarados before. I never noticed too much about shinies when I was a kid, so I can't say for certain. Well, considering my second Pokemon video was on Ponyta, I have to catch it. Welcome to the team, Shinyta. Well, anyways, back to Red. We're at level 90 now. Pikachu is a one-hit KO as always, and Venusaur still takes 2 hits. We're hitting Espeon hard with Surf, and Psychic is only taking out just about under half our health and damage. With leftovers, we're able to top up our health a little, so it's not too much of an issue. When we get to Snorlax, we're headbutting it, and it's going pretty well. When it body slams us though, we're paralysed and that fight is pretty much lost. Still, I think we're looking really good here. I go again at level 90. We get through Pikachu and Venusaur pretty easily, so that's all good. Next up is Espeon and we crit with Surf, taking it down in 1. Next is Snorlax, and it does nothing to us. We keep headbutting it, and it either flinches or uses amnesia. So we're through it, and we haven't taken any damage this whole fight. These first 4 Pokemon were definitely the hardest Pokemon for Psyduck to deal with, so hopefully we're able to bring this to a close. For Blastoise, we just go for Headbutt. It hits us once with Surf, but then it just keeps getting flinched, and it's done. We're back to full HP for Charizard, and this really should just be a one-hit KO with Surf. And yep, it's done, there we go! Red has been defeated by a duck, all by its lonesome. And we get to flex on him by finishing the fight with full HP. Well, that was a really fun challenge run. Gen 2 has some wild difficulty curves throughout it, and it's a lot more draining than a Gen 1 run, but it was still really enjoyable. It was great to see how many options Psyduck had. I didn't make use of everything, but I had stuff I could turn to if I needed to. It's still messed up though that Psyduck can't learn Psychic. It's a psychic duck! Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've had a lot of fun making it. Next time we're here, we'll be back in Kanto, but with a bit of a twist. Once we'll have a team of Pokemon. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.